Hi, this is Roxana Forever Diva, and today's day 52 of the 100-day challenge. Now, it is also April 22nd, so I decided to make a series within a series for the next few days until the end of April. And I'm going to call it the Honest Series. It's a little different from a rant because a rant is just something that I see online or wherever it gets on my goat and I have to say something about it. You will find in time that I have a lot to say about a lot of things. But the Honest Series is more about deeper than that, I guess is the way I should say it. And the reason why I'm creating the series is because I have noticed that if I hold it in, I get sick. And I will tell you the relationship between feelings and disease in a minute. But I just figured nothing better than this to let it out and hopefully get it out of my system and maybe even give me some ideas, because usually when I talk out loud I tend to get a very good idea sometimes. So here it goes. I'm going to give you a little background so you understand where we are right now. About 4 or 5 years ago, I started getting sick on certain foods, usually cow related, either cow meat or milk. Well, I don't drink milk, but I eat ice cream. I love ice cream. I'm not gonna lie. I absolutely love ice cream, and I absolutely love melted cheese. And I could not eat either one of those two things because I would be sick for 2 days. Usually, what I would do is, just to avoid getting in trouble at work, I would have it on a Friday, so then I could be sick Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, then go back to work on Monday, no problem. Somewhere down the line, I noticed that it was not happening every time. And that made me pause because, of course, in the beginning I thought it was lactose intolerant. Then I started thinking, well, maybe it has to do with anything related to cows. But then I started thinking, wait a minute, if it was the actual food, I'll get sick every single time, not just whenever. And I couldn't relate whenever what. That's what I'm trying to say. So then we started looking at other alternatives and other possibilities, and sure enough, I want to say November of 2013, while we were looking for what would eventually become an operation, we found out I have something called IBS. For those of you that don't know, IBS is short for irritable bowel syndrome. And in the interest of self-disclosure, I just want you to know that this is my experience with IBS. It doesn't mean that you will experience the same thing if you have IBS. It just means that's how it works for me. I did notice that whenever I was upset, either extremely happy or extremely unhappy, I will get it. And it really didn't matter what food I was eating. So let's fast forward a little bit. Like I said, when we discovered the IBS, we were in search of something else that was bothering me. Turns out that I had to have my gallbladder removed in January. At that time, my doctor also told me that I had two conditions up here. One is GERD and the other one is Barrett's esophagus. And if you don't take care of those, they become cancer. Whatever. I don't care. I do care, but more on that later. I had a medication that they gave me to treat this too, and it blew my memory away. And you're going to find out why that bothered me later. But the bottom line is that it did not go well for me. October, Halloween to be exact, my husband got sick on some candy. We found out that he had prostate issues, and on April, while my dad was in Puerto Rico having radiotherapy for cancer, my husband was having his prostate removed. He's been cancer-free 1 year. Thank God for that. Then my father got sick, and of course, in the beginning of this year, my father passed away, and my family member got diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Now, I give you that history to explain to you why the feelings and the disease annoy me. There has been some studies that connect stomach issues with Alzheimer's. How valid are they? I don't know. Because right now I've heard so many theories, it blows my mind. There seems to be a connection between family and Alzheimer's. So the possibilities that I get Alzheimer's in 20 years are very big. We also, as I've read more and more about Alzheimer's, we have a feeling that before my dad passed away, he was starting to show signs off. So, yeah. Now cool. The reason why I bring all that up is so that you understand where I'm standing right this second. And if I cry, I'm sorry. There are things that are worse than death. To me, Alzheimer's and stomach issues are two. They may or may not be related, I don't know. But the fact that I have possibility of both is annoying, to be honest with you. But, and this is where it gets interesting, excuse me. This is where it gets interesting because this morning I had quite possibly one of the worst IBS attacks I've had in a long time. And I had to go see my mom and see her, one of her therapists, the person that's helping me with the memory issues. And ironically, I was reading the book that she gave me so I can figure out what's going on with my mom and how to deal with what's going on with my mom. And that book actually made me realize, oh my God, in 20 years, this is going to be me. So what do I do? It's worse than a death sentence because you think that's what's going to be your life and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then I started thinking, what if you don't look at that, you don't think about that, because it's going to make you worse. It's going to make you cry every day and feel sick and feel like, what's the point? And instead you start living for your next little adventure and make your life a series of little adventures from now until whatever happens. Now, there's a possibility that they'll find the cure for Alzheimer's before I go through it, and then I won't have to worry about it. There's also a possibility that somebody will finally take a serious look at IBS and GERD and all these stupid related. I call them the relateds because the symptoms are similar. Colitis, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, all these diseases that affect your stomach and everything else and have horrible effects on your psyche. Because to be honest with you, there is a relationship between your feelings and your gut. That's why they call it gut feeling. And the truth of it is that I just don't want to live like that person that's always worried about what if. So when we left my mom's, we went to visit my mom, we went to visit a family member, we've had a couple of visits today. When I went to visit my loved one, was the last visit I was going to do today before I came back home. I decided to go and have, of all things, and this is not a plug, I don't get money for this, the Smoothie King. Now, my favorite Smoothie King has to do with carrots, and it so happens that this particular Smoothie King ran out of carrots and offered to do the same shake that I always drink with mango instead. At the time that I'm waiting for the smoothie is when I start thinking, you know, if I sit here and wait for Alzheimer's to catch me, I'm just going to die a very slow death instead of living my life. So I have to live for today and screw whatever happens tomorrow. I don't know, and I can't tell you if it was the fact that I had that realization or if it was the smoothie. Something clicked and my stomach pain went down by 60-70%. So, what does that tell me? That tells me that A, I'm going to try to stay as close to fruits and vegetables as I possibly can, because for some reason when I have a smoothie or something like that, it seems to calm me down, my stomach down. And B, I think I'm on the right path. I think, you know, you hear all these gurus talking about live for the day and live for the present and blah, blah, blah. And you look at it and you go, yeah, whatever. I still have to think about the bills I have to pay next month and all this other stuff. But I think there's something to be said for realizing that you can't live your life. If you know something's going to happen in the future, you can't live your life thinking that that's going to happen, because it's going to happen whether you want it or not. That's why I don't pay attention to conspiracy theories, because or ultra religious people that are talking about the end of the world. Well, yeah, the world is going to end at some point, and if I spend the rest of my life worrying about that, I'm never going to live. That's just the way I look at it, and that's why I don't believe in any of those people. So my message to you today's Friday. For the average person, there's a weekend coming up. For some people I used to work that I used to work with, for example, that work in different shifts, so they don't necessarily have the weekend off, but they might have one day off this weekend. Enjoy that day off, enjoy your weekend, and enjoy the days that you're working too. Stop thinking about, ugh, it's Monday, or ooh, it's Friday. Stop looking at life that way. Just enjoy the fact that you're alive, and do the best and have the most fun you can possibly have, whether you have a job, a company, or whatever you do, because tomorrow's not promised to you, and you never know when it's going to happen. But do you really want to live your life thinking, well, I didn't do crap, because, yeah, I did say a bad word. I didn't do crap, so my life was wasted. Or do you want to think to yourself, maybe I didn't accomplish A or B, but I sure had a fun time trying. And I think that's what I want to go with. So anyway, that's my little reality moment, honesty moment, whatever you want to call it, for today. It's day 52 of the 100-day challenge, and if you have any comments, just leave them below. Thank you.